Lily Madwhip must die. Chapter 2. Out the window. So, here's the plan. After lights out, I stuff my pillow under my blanket so it looks like I'm still there, in case someone does a check-in to make sure we're all asleep. Millie and Terry usually fall asleep within seconds of their heads hitting their pillows. I know because they both snore. Terry sounds like someone trying to use a blender to liquefy tennis balls. Millie's snores are lighter, but every now and then she whistles through her nose. Harriet wears earplugs when she goes to bed because otherwise she'll never fall asleep, thanks to the two snorers. Mary usually lies awake on her bed like a dead person in a coffin, with her fingers entwined, and says prayers to herself for like an hour. But I don't have to worry about her because she isn't going to say anything if she sees me get up anyway. She prefers to pretend I don't exist. Oh, there's more to the plan than the pillow, obviously. After that, I'm going to open the window by my bed just a crack and squeeze out. It opens at an angle and can't open all the way, even if I needed it to. But I'm small and can fit through it pretty easily, so just a crack should be enough. Thankfully, our bedroom is on the second floor and not the third or fourth. There's an air conditioner in the window, just below mine, and if I go slow, I can probably drop down onto it, then jump down to the ground. That's where my flashlight and map come in. I drew this map of the whole city using a mechanical pencil and a Rand McNally atlas I borrowed from a kid on my floor named Hessie Mills. I don't know why she had an atlas, but what does that matter anyway? She did. She let me look at it, and I drew a small map of the city, using it so I could find the quickest route to the carnival grounds, which unfortunately are about 5 thumbs away by my estimates. 1 thumb equals 10 little marker lines in the atlas, so that's 50 marker lines. I forget what the marker lines represent because I didn't think they mattered when I was making the map until Pashar asked me later if I had made sure to replicate the distance measurements as well as the streets. Look, I got a map and an angel with me. I'll be fine. And a compass, Pashar says. Right, and a compass. I pat my coat pocket where I put the compass. I wait until lights out, listening to the music Harriet has playing on her Walkman secondhand. Sometimes she mouths the lyrics and waves her hands in the air like she's casting a spell. She actually has a very nice singing voice, but is too self-conscious to let most people hear it. Paskar says someday she'll be a backup vocalist for a popular singer. I can't see that far ahead yet. I just know she's going to fall asleep in about 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, you get the idea. The street is dark when I open the window. It's not cold out and there's no breeze. Perfect. I slip my backpack through the slant in the window and toss it away from the side of the building so it doesn't bang on the air conditioner unit. Then I climb up onto the windowsill and slip my legs through. Are you running away? It's Mary. I can make her out across the room thanks to the little green glowy nightlight someone stuck by the door to the hallway. She's not looking at me, just staring up at the ceiling, hands on her chest, fingers entwined. Think fast, Lily. No. Perfect. Then, where are you going? She still doesn't look at me. Well, I sit up and hold the sides of the window. If you really want to know, the ghost of my best friend is in a stuffed animal, and she was taken by my foster mom when she was possessed by a demon, and I think she may have hidden her at the carnival in a claw machine among a bunch of other stuffed animals. So I'm going to the carnival to see if I can find her and release her spirit so she can go be with her family, who are also ghosts. Mary is quiet for a moment. Oh, she finally says. Good luck. Thanks. That's probably the most we've spoken to each other since the time she flushed the toilet while I was in the shower. And with that, I shimmy through the slant in the window, drop about 10 feet, hit the air conditioner unit to the room below me with all the grace of a disoriented walrus, slip on a patch of wetness I didn't realize was there, then go tumbling head over biscuits down to the ground, landing on my backpack with a loud fudge, and somehow manage to kick myself in the face when my feet catch up with the rest of me. Are you all right? Pashkar asks me from inside the backpack. I grunt and roll onto my tummy, laying face down in the dirt for a moment. This must be how earthworms see the world. Don't you know if I'm all right? I ask him. Of course I do. But what was I supposed to say? You'll be fine. Shake it off, I was being compassionate. I grumble as I pick myself up and shake it off, as he said. My lip is bleeding, and I got the taste of my shoe on my tongue. It tastes like salt and pennies. The journey to the fairgrounds where the carnival is set up takes about an hour. I take a detour to avoid passing through the cemetery where my family is buried. I don't go there anymore. Not since I got stabbed. Something happened to me, and now I see these shadowy people standing inside the fence every time I go by. They're like silhouettes, but there's nobody actually there. Pashkar says they're not ghosts, not exactly. They're what ghosts become if they refuse to stay put in their corpses and await the final judgment. Pashkar calls them wraiths. He says, technically, Roger and Meredith became wraiths when they crossed back over from the veil, but because they did it that way, they retained their humanity. Most graveyard wraiths don't remember who they are or why they're there, just that they want to leave. He says people in limbo choose either to wait and be free someday, or leave and walk a dark path that only leads to the pit. It all sounds very complicated to me. Whatever it all means, there's a lot of these shadow people at the cemetery, so I avoid it. They don't tend to leave the grounds. Lily, says Pashkar from the backpack, I think I know why we've had trouble finding Meredith. I stop and rest on my knees for a moment, catching my breath. My feet inside my shoes feel funny, like maybe I got a blister between my toes, or had one at one point and it burst. The pad of my foot feels wet and squishy. Yeah, we should be approaching the fairground, but I can't detect anything. It's like there's a black hole where the carnival should be. I can sense people going into it and leaving it, but when they're there, it's like they don't exist. I look ahead at the lights in the distance. I can hear the screams and laughter of people having fun, as well as the sound of fast-moving rides and arcade buzzers. There's a small Ferris wheel looming over everything. How come you never see Ferris wheels on the highway? Do they fold up or something? Maybe they turn into cars like Transformers. What would make it so you can't sense the carnival? I ask. It could be a number of things, Pashar says, with as frustrated a voice as he can muster. There are some minor magics left over from ancient times that can obscure our vision, courtesy of Samael. Or in a worst-case scenario, there could be a tear in the veil, the size of a cornfield, and the carnival is sitting directly inside it. I highly doubt it's that, though. There isn't anyone or anything with the power to rip a hole that large, and if there was, Duma would have immediately detected it. What if it was Duma? He doesn't answer. I don't think he likes the implication. After all, Duma is taking the role that once belonged to Samael, testing the strength of the veil. That involved torturing children, deceiving people, pretty evil kind of stuff. But Pashar says Samael wasn't evil. He was just doing the task he was assigned, and I can't judge him for the bad things he did because he did them for a greater purpose. All I know is he left me with no parents and a scar on my face, and if Duma has that job now, who knows what he'd do. I wander into the fairground carefully, keeping an eye out for the claw machine full of Freddies. There's a tilt-a-whirl called the Octopus, because it looks like an octopus. I remember it from way back when my family went here, back when I originally got the doll that Meredith is in. Roger talked me into riding the octopus with him right after I ate a hot dog, and I nearly barfed all over him. The next week at school, word got around that this kid Sean Bucket actually did barf while riding the octopus, and his barf went everywhere, on everyone standing around, watching their kids ride. It made me so glad I didn't actually get sick when I wrote it. Also, everyone called Sean Barf Bucket for the rest of the school year and some of the next until someone did something even more embarrassing that made them forget. Do you see anything? Pashkar asks. I'm blind in here. I pull him out of the backpack and hold him up so he can look around. He sighs. I didn't mean in the backpack. I mean in this carnival. Whatever it is that's hiding everything is completely blocking my senses. I can barely even tell I'm with you. Please remember, I am not the totem. It's just a conduit. I know that. I forget sometimes, though, especially when we're talking to each other. People shove past me on their ways. Somewhere. It feels strange here, in this crowd of people, all doing things and going places and thinking things, and I can't read a single one of them. Usually by now, I know the names of everybody around me, and, if I'm unlucky, half of their life stories. That guy over there, with the traditional biker handlebar mustache and the black leather biker jacket, and the Harley Davidson tattoo on his arm, he's probably into motorcycles, but I have no idea. I don't even know if his name is Butch or Billy. You look lost, little one, comes a woman's voice. I turn. I'm standing in front of a small tent with a curtain across the door. Do tents have doors? It's the enter thingy, the way in, the entrance. Yeah, that's the word. Anyway, enough about the entrance. The voice is from this short, dark haired lady standing by the entrance with the curtain. She's got a funny red dress with black and brown swirl patterns. It seems to drape over her a bunch of different times, like it's actually several dresses. Maybe it is several dresses. Like she bought the same dress multiple times because she likes it so much, but she wears them all at once. Her head is covered in a scarf, but she lets her hair hang out of it. Where are your parents? She asks me gently. Dead. Her jaw snaps shut for a moment. I'm sorry. Why don't you come inside and let me read your fortune? She pulls the curtain aside to reveal the inside of her little tent. There's a table and a couple fold-out chairs. On the table is a crystal ball. Holy cow. I didn't think crystal balls were real, but this lady totally has one. It's not swirling and lighting up, or anything like they do in movies, but that's probably because she hasn't turned it on yet. Sure, I say, dazzled at the sight of the crystal ball. I go in and sit down at the nearest chair. The lady follows me in, letting the curtain close and the tent get really dark. Little flickering tea candles placed around the inside keep it from going pitch black. Pashar whispers, Lily, focus. Remember why we're here. The raven-haired lady sits across from me. Come to think of it, why do we call it raven-haired anyway? Ravens are birds. They have feathers, not hair. Like there aren't a million other animals the same color as ravens that have hair. Hair that we could go with? How about Kodiak bears? They are the fiercest bears in the bear family and have got fur that's about the same color. Between us, the crystal ball starts to glow ever so lightly, first at the bottom, like it's filling with light. It's green. The light, I mean. It swirls about inside the ball like the surface of a bubble. I stare at it, trying to hide my giddiness. My name is Madame Gwendolyn, the Kodiak bear-haired woman says, suddenly putting a strange accent on her voice. I can commune with the spirit world and help you find the answers to whatever troubles you. No, she can't, Pashkar says. We need to get going. Yeah, I know, I tell him. Of course you do, she replies, thinking I was talking to her. She waves her hands over her crystal ball. It doesn't make the swirls move any differently. I'm not sure if it's supposed to. There's some dry ice fog coming out from a hose behind where she's sitting. I can feel it on my ankles. It's cold. What secrets can Madame Gwendolyn share with you? I point at the pretty swirly green ball between us. Where can I get one of these? I mean, think about it. Here's a lady making a living off making stuff up and tricking people into thinking it's real, all because she's got a crystal ball and lives in a tent where they blow dry ice fog up the back of your 5 red-brown dresses. Now imagine if I had a crystal ball and a dry ice fog machine. Maybe people would start listening to my true prophecies. Madame Grendel, or whatever her name is. I forget. Chuckles politely. This was passed down to me by my mother from her mother before her. It's been in my family for generations. I'm afraid you can't just pick one up at your local store. Pashar clears his throat. Lily, that's a clever idea and all, but right now we're on a mission of high importance. Remember? Madame Kodiak Hair eyes me warily. Can she tell I'm having a second conversation in my head? No, she doesn't have any real gifts. She's a phony, just like every other carnival fortune teller. She'll probably whip out some tarot cards and off to read my fortune next. Maybe look at my hands and talk about the creases in my skin and how they relate to aspects of my life, rather than how they relate to the way my skin folds when I pick things up or make a fist. You are looking for someone, she says, trying to stare me down as she runs a finger across the top of the crystal orb. I can see it in your eyes. Lady, you're no Mary Hatchet. You can't stare me down. My eyes can get as dry as a dead leaf baking in the summer heat before I blink. And what you're seeing in my eyes is the vast disappointment of not getting an answer about my crystal ball question, which means I'm going to have to go hunting around town for a shop that dabbles in mysticism and see if they have one for sale or know how I can find one. I'm looking for something, I admit. Do you know where the claw machine is? Lady Marmalade ignores my question. She continues to try to outstare me. She brings her other hand up and holds both hands out on either side of the ball. Tiny sparks of electricity zap the tips of her fingers for a moment. Holy shit, that ball is so cool. I have got to get to one like that. Your name is. She pauses for dramatic effect. Lillian. Time to go, Peshar says loudly in my head. I lurch to my feet, almost knocking over the chair. I gotta go find that claw machine, I stammer, pointing out the curtained entrance hole with my thumb. Thanks for the. I realize she's basically given me nothing. Sitting down. You are looking for an acquaintance? You lost. Yep, and I'm going to find them in the claw machine. The claw machine. Not in. That would be silly. What would they be doing in a claw machine? I try to fake a laugh and just snort like a pig instead. Outside the tent, an elderly couple hold hands while waiting their turn to get their palms read or something. I can't imagine they're waiting to learn their futures. They both look so old that they can't possibly have much of one left. That's really mean, Pashar says, reading my thoughts. Stay out of my brain for a bit, please, I grumble. The old couple give each other a puzzled look. The woman shrugs. The man laughs. Then they start to go into the tent. Lillian, Madame Gandalf calls after me from inside. Your friend is not here. Do not waste your time searching. Look elsewhere. Screw that. I'm not looking anywhere else until I've checked the claw machine. She's just a crackpot phony psychic after all. Who happens to know my name and what I'm doing wandering a carnival alone when I'm supposed to be in bed back at the foster center? Don't stop walking until you find the claw machine, Pashkar says, with a clear tone of urgency. I won't. But what? Lily, go! His voice stings the inside of my head. I go. First walking, then fast walking, then I start up a trot. I find I go faster doing trots than jogging. Jogging is too much arm flapping, and it's too easy to trip when you're skipping. Trotting is just right. Don't be mysterious. I snap as I trot along, weaving through the crowds of people with cotton candy and cheap prizes won at game booths where you spray plastic piggies in the nose with water until a balloon inflates to bursting. What's got into you? Why are we hurrying? I could sense someone else, he says, not the fortune teller. Someone else. I don't know who they were, but the fact that I could sense them even though they weren't in the tent with you means they have an aura like yours. I have an aura? When did I get an aura? I glance down at my hands to see if they're glowing and end up almost running into the side of a popcorn machine. Thankfully, I have my hands up, so I smack into the side with my hands and rebound off, falling onto my butt while the popcorn machine attendant yells, "Hey," and then, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I tell them, quickly scrambling to my feet and moving on before too many people notice me. I should probably not trot for a bit, just speed walk. Otherwise, I might stand out, and after running into that popcorn machine, a lot of people are already looking my way. Everyone has an aura, Pashkar says. He doesn't ask me if I'm all right. He knows I'm all right. But only certain people have an aura like yours. What's my aura like? I bet it's blue. I like blue. I wish we could pick our auras. I would have blue at the top, working its way down to a deep purple at my feet. Midnight blue. Royal purple. The Lily Madwhip aura. Up ahead, I see a teenage girl and what I guess is her younger brother, unless she dates way outside her age range. They're standing in front of the crane machine. The girl is maneuvering the crane arm over something inside the machine. My heart tries to rip its way out of my chest in panic as the claw descends into the chaos of stuffed animals and comes up pinching a blue stuffy. Thankfully, it turns out to be the horn of a blue rhinoceros. The boy claps and the girl pumps her fist until the rhino's horn slips out of the claw's loose grip and tumbles back down into the stuffy pile. No! The little boy cries. Stupid machine, his sister says. It's all rigged. Still, I've got one more quarter. One last try. She flashes the shiny quarter in her hand. It glints in the harsh lights like a knife cutting right into my chest and carving out a cat doll shaped hole. I can already see it. The cruel comedy of it. They will pull Meredith out with their last quarter, and no, let's go over to the ducks, says the boy. They turn and walk away instead. Well, that was lucky. I get to the claw machine and press my face up against the glass. I can see several different places in the stuffy pile where a blue paw is sticking up like a dying person's last grasp in a lake of quicksand. Here, there be Freddy's. Digging into one of the side pockets of my backpack, I pull out a roll of quarters. I swipe from the laundry room back at the center. Someone is going to be really pissed and have really stinky clothes, but this is an emergency, and I didn't have time to debate with myself over the morality of it. I pop a quarter in, and the claw lurches to life. Easy does it, Pashar says. I shush him. That's not helpful. The claw moves jerkily over the pile of stuffy loot. I can only move it twice and then it won't move again, so I have to be very precise. Once I let go of the control stick, I can only move it once more in a forward or backward direction. Then it will drop and try to grab something. I'm not a professional at this. I think to be professional anything, you have to get paid to do it. Do they have a job where someone pays you to play with a claw machine? I'd like to get paid to do this. Actually, I want to get paid to paint, but I know nobody pays people to paint. They just buy all their stuff once they're dead, and then tell everyone else how valuable it is. Nobody ever pays people what their art is worth when they're alive, because they can just make more of it. Once they've kicked the bucket, though. Lily, focus. Right. I move the claw into the center of the machine's glass case and smack the big red button that drops it. The claw slowly descends, pinchers open wide, like a hungry kid reaching into a Pringles can. A moment later, the pinchers snap shut and the claw returns with nothing. It slowly travels back to the front corner where the chute is, drops a pint of empty air into the award bin, and shudders to a halt. Okay, second quarter. A lady screams nearby, but it quickly turns to laughter. She's being picked up by the guy she's with, and she half-heartedly slaps at his arms until he finally drops her. The little boy and his sister pass by, and he gives me a look. His eyes say, "You better not have gotten my rhinoceros, or I'm going to cry." I look at him back with the best I didn't get jack shit face I can make. I realize it's very similar to my I don't know what that smell is. Why are you looking at me? Face. The second quarter disappears into the slot. The claw machine grunts as it reawakens. I slowly, carefully, guide it horizontally to line up with a little blue paw. Then I move it inward, where it looks like it's hovering directly over said paw. My friend Officer Jenny would probably have trouble doing this since she's only got one eye. That messes up your depth perception. They keep her on desk duty for the most part these days. She sends me a card every now and then to remind me she hates me. I punch the big red button again. The claw drops down and closes on the little blue paw. I should probably say that with a bit more excitement. The claw closes on the little blue paw. I punch the air excitedly with my fist. I just so happen to punch the machine. I do this just as the claw is prying a very familiar looking blue cat doll out of the heap. The whole machine shakes ever so slightly. Thank goodness I got weak. Tiny fists for once. Meredith? I shout. I want to hug the machine as the Freddy doll is airlifted from its stuffy prison, but I'm afraid of jostling it further. Instead, I start chewing on my fingernails, all 8 fingers at once. Obviously, I can't fit my thumbs in my mouth. Have you ever tried to chew all 10 of your fingernails at once? It doesn't work. You look stupid. I am not speaking from experience here. I'm just saying you look dumb if you just shove all 10 fingers in your mouth. The claw pops open just as it reaches the hole to the chute. Technically, it pops open about 0.36 seconds before it reaches the hole. I made that number up, but it sounds really precise, and I'm probably right. Whatever the decimal points, the claw opens up just before the chute, and the Freddy lapel doll drops. It lands directly on the thin piece of plastic separating all the prizes from the prize hole. If the doll was anatomically correct, I would say that it suffered a heinous groin injury. It leans ever so slightly toward the way down into my waiting hands, then stops. Are you freaking kidding me? I yell at the claw. I grab the whole machine and try to shake it, but, like I said before, I'm weak and got little arms and fists. And yet, the doll wobbles just the smallest bit. Come on, Meredith, I yell at the toy. Just pick your leg up. Get out of there. The toy doesn't move. Maybe she's not in it. Maybe it's one of the other dolls. Since it's separated from me by just the thin glass of the machine case, I can see the doll pretty clearly. It has some sort of marker on it, like someone drew on its tummy. Someone drew on it? Pashkar says, reading my thoughts. What does it look like? Like a Y with a horn. I scrunch my face up, trying to see through the smudgy glass that's made worse by my breathing on it and fogging it up. Or a stick that's cheering? Algiz, Pashkar says. That's a rune. One of those ancient magics I told you about. I'm not sure what the purpose of it is on the doll, but it could be that Furfur drew it on her to entrap her. I'm afraid I'm a little outside of my expertise here. Samael created the ancient magics like this, and he kept most of them from us. They don't work outside the veil unless used by, well, someone like you. I bang my fists against the claw machine. Then I kick it. Then I yell at it some choice words I won't say here. That part is the least effective, so I stop and go back to shaking it and kicking it. Then a hand falls on my shoulder. What do you think you're doing? Asks a deep male voice. You're gonna break the machine. I'm swiveled about on my heels to face a large, angry-looking man with a big, greasy, tiger-colored beard. He's wearing suspenders that are festooned with all sorts of colorful buttons. He looks like a circus clown who just couldn't be bothered to finish his ensemble. I'm trying to get the prize I won, I tell him, gesturing toward the doll dangling tauntingly over the prize hole. Did it fall into the chute? He asks me, then eyes the crowd, probably looking for my parents. Before I can answer, he continues, Then it's not yours. The prize has to reach the chute. Don't shake the machine. Well, that's bullshit. Excuse me? He snaps suddenly. Bullshit. Oh no. I thinked it out loud. He eyes me up and down. For a moment, like he's sizing me up. It doesn't take very long. Get going before I kick your ass. I'm horrified at the thought of getting a beatdown by a grown-ass adult. I'm a 12-year-old girl. You're a little potty-mouthed punk who's damaging precision equipment. It's a freaking claw machine, not a space laser. Nobody around us seems to care in the least that this little kid is getting threats of violence from Bozo the Clown's angry redneck cousin. Oh geez, I hope I didn't just say that out loud. Well, he hasn't punched a hole in my chest. I think that's a good sign. Last chance, kid, he says, jamming his thumb in the direction of away. Git. I jam my thumb in the direction of the teetering toy. Look, I've got several more quarters, and I've really got to. He drops his beefy hand on my shoulder again. It nearly pushes me to the ground. His face moves way too close to mine. I can smell tobacco on his breath, the chewing kind, and the sort of burning stink that comes with hard alcohols. It makes me want to gag. So I do. I can't really control it. That's the whole thing about gagging. If you could control gagging, nobody would do it. Except jerks trying to be mean. Oh crap. Pashar whispers. Really? That's the message you want to send me? That's like the least comforting thing you could have whispered at this moment. How about instead you say, "It's going to be okay, Lily"? Before the tiger bearded, beer smelling button enthusiast can expel whatever threat he was going to at me, he gets a taste of his own medicine, by which I mean a hand falls on his shoulder, and someone else speaks now, a kind of nasally voice. "I'll handle this, Benny." Benny freezes at the voice. He locks eyes with me, though, and we have a staring contest. Oh boy, he is going to be going away sad. "Bye, Benny," I tell him. He digs his fingers into my shoulder blade just to let me know. He could have ripped my arms off like a Wookiee. Then his face disappears from my view, and I hear him shuffling off into the noisy crowd. I would like to say that I watched Benny go, but I didn't. I was too curious to see who it was that had the power to control such a thug. Did you know that curiosity killed the cat? I don't know where that saying comes from. I suspect it came about because of some cat that heard a noise, stuck its head out a window or something, and got it bitten off by a crocodile. Kind of like the crocodile smile on the face of the man looming over me, all teeth and no sincerity. I'm going to bite your little head off grin on the tall, skinny man with the long, greasy hair he has pulled back into a ponytail, and a fancy, well-groomed little devil spike on his chin and curly mustache. And to finish the picture, a pair of small silver spectacles perched on his weasel-like nose. "Well, you found me," Felix Clay says, crossing his arms. "Now, what am I going to do with you?"